Who am I? Michael Kay. I went to school in Otaki. I loved it. I ended up going to Fielding Agricultural High School, and although I was sort of challenged because I was dyslexic, what I loved was agriculture. That's where I came from. That was my roots. So when I got into Fielding Ag, then it was just a dream. This is just amazing. So I actually hit all top marks. I was one of the highest passing students in agriculture still today. But I've gone organic. And the thing is why I've gone organic is that's really how my father farmed. And it is the story, let's call it what it's been termed out now. It's regenerative agriculture. And regenerative agriculture, or the story that we can tell in agriculture, is very much part of bringing back the food and fibre industry. So before I answer those questions, I just want to go to why I'm so passionate and why I'm not trying to stand for one of the political parties. I don't want us to have that tribal debate anymore. I want us to actually really focus in on this, because this is our big opportunity. A lot of times in big disasters, we actually do get a big opportunity, and right now, brewing for us now is to rejuvenate our productive economy. Now, I support everything that the Greens have tried to do, but unless you actually have got skin in the game, unless the people that are actually affected by policy make that policy, you cannot make policy. So if teachers aren't making the policy for teaching, the result will be something that they have to fight against. And like Teresa said, they have to fight against it. And they're meant to be teaching kids. We farmers, we're meant to be farming. And, and we're also, for a long, long time, and it's still to this day. If I go down to sale yards and they say, hey, organic farmer, hippie, greenie, idiot. I'll give you an example. Singing Frog Farms over in California actually turns over $280,000 per hectare. We don't do that here. What we do is we process our soils into our waterways. And you just saw that yesterday. You saw our precious soils at $85,000, $100,000 a hectare. It's all going down into our rivers. And hey, I don't like urea, I don't like Roundup and all that sort of thing, but what I do is grow soil, the byproduct is food and fibre. We're spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year around the lake, sorry, and that could be a productive wetland. We had a major flax industry here. Our wool industry, for New Zealand, was pretty much like the petrodollar. From 1937 to 1965, I think it was, we were the wealthiest country in the world. We had the best wages in the world, we had 100% employment. And what I think we need to do is be very brave and roll back what happened in 1984. So we actually don't reduce GST down to 10%, or we don't tweak things, we actually get rid of it. We turn around and we say, hey, we're going to be a productive economy. Government is not going to fix things, throws fairy dust over everything. We are actually going to allow the young people of tomorrow and today to go out and do whatever they want and be productive. And that's the best thing that we can do to actually rejuvenate, especially around here. Look at around here. The food bank opened when the works closed. Then Allinson's closed. The food banks were only opening for a short period of time. They've never been busier than they are now. If we look past the limit, we have got growth, sure we have got growth, but it's growth of debt. It's borrowings. A lot of people talk about we're going to tax the millionaires. Well, the millionaires are millionaires on paper, really. They've got bloody graphic mortgages. And, farmers are complaining and they're saying, oh, well, we don't like Labour, or we don't like the Greens, or we don't, we like National, or we don't like this. I think the thing is we do have to really build these things, our own community. Look how strong this Otaki electorate was, how powerful we were as an electorate. We were the best in manufacturing. We were manufacturing all those fibres. Feltex carpets just about to come back up. They're building this great big monstrosity of a thing that's going to hang over the top and supposedly bring back wool. But we had it, we let it go. We've got to build what we call in local labs, which is something that we've stolen from what's happening in the EU, because the EU's already been through this, other countries have already been through this stuff. So we've got to really turn around and be prepared to say, well, you know, someone like me, but, you know, say, look, throw me in, vote for whoever you want to vote for, but we've got to have the how. And my first thing would be to drive back into the communities everywhere throughout New Zealand to build things in local labs to respond to the urgency that's going to happen when this next, whoever the next government is when it comes to power. It is going to be, as they say, you know, it's a bit fair and all that sort of thing, but it is going to be really rough. We can't keep borrowing and subsidising wages. And what Labor did was the right thing to do. But we've got to really, really be prepared as people to find our solutions from the grassroots up, and that's all of community, not top down. It doesn't work. It didn't work in the EU, and you couldn't have built a bigger thing to do it. They've all done it, like us farmers, teachers, everybody's going to be able to get on and actually build this stuff. I'll get on to, I don't know where I'm at time-wise, but I'll get on to these questions. Last time we actually were in a bit of a situation like this when things were looking pretty bad, which was the GFC, we got asked whether we want to change the flag. And I'm sort of a little bit worried about these questions because these questions are the cannabis legislation. I don't care if people smoke cannabis, but they can't smoke it at work. You know, that's fair enough, isn't it? You know, like what you do in your home life and all that sort of stuff. But what are we actually being asked? And I don't want to influence how you vote because it's a referendum, but what are we being asked? Are we being asked that we're saying we can't have illegal drug dealers, we're going to legalise the drug dealers, and that's going to be, what, who's going to do that? And when you see that there's going to be, what, $50,000 and you get to be a cannabis grower and a drug dealer. I don't know what we're being asked. The abortion, you know, we talk about late-term abortions. You know, my mother wouldn't be here if someone one of the doctors hadn't intervened and, you know, performed the procedure to make her abort because she wouldn't have survived. So I can't, you know, like these are so complex. But are they the things of today? Are they going to be the questions of tomorrow or forever? These are the circular questions and just go round and round. End of life has already been done in Canada and it's not going very well, and so we have to be very, very careful. It's like most things, you know, these are progressive ideas, but they're really not going to help us or help the huge amount of suicide that we've got. They're not going to help people that can't feed their families. They're not going to help the rifts that are turning into our communities, where, like, I think the saddest thing is when I ran for regional council, I spent most of my time with farmers, and they were just so sad that the way that they were regarded in the community, and that's really heartbreaking. So it was great to go and milk cows again. I had milked cows for ages, but you know, none of the kids admit that they're dairy farmers, and dairy farmers aren't doing anywhere near as much damage as pine monoculture. They're not doing anywhere near as much damage as the vegetable growers. And you know, so we have to be brave, and those vegetable growers, look, hey, don't get me wrong, don't go out of here and think, oh, I want them all closed down. I just want them to change. And if they had to change, like dairy had to, and I'm not saying dairy's even halfway through the change that it needs to make, but you know, the community drives that change. And you know, and it's got to be a willing thing. And we have to do it because we have to be productive. We have to make the most out of what we've got. So thank you. So Michael Kay, I always forget that. You can only tick for me once, okay? But we're really, really hoping to actually get this party registered this time around. And what we're really, really aiming to get is people that really are specialists in what they do. You know, it was great. We went to a youth event yesterday. I don't know what to do with LGBT. But you know, I was able to talk to a couple of the girls there that really did speak really well I thought really thought well, and like she can help us build a policy. So, hey, thank you very much.